talking about Ted Lasso, how it relates to Crucible. I don't remember which character said this quote. I know we can't fix every ache inside of us, but I shouldn't have to pretend it's not there either. It's not serving anyone by hiding aches and that there's pain in our stories.
Something that's so core to Crucible is this phrase, all of you is welcome. What would it look like to actually live in a world where that's true?
Welcome to the Crucible Project Podcast. The Crucible Project is a nonprofit organization committed to creating a world of men and women who live with integrity, grace, and courage, helping them to fulfill their God-given purpose. This podcast will discuss important and sometimes difficult topics while delivering practical life applications with men and women who are currently practicing this work. We are igniting Christ-like change in men and women through experiences of radical honesty and grace.
Welcome back to the Crucible Project Podcast. My name is Joy Dunning, and I'm your host for today. I'm here with Jess Donovan. Hey, Jess.
How's it going?
Good. So this episode is going to be a little different than maybe our normal episodes. We're calling this one The Lasso Way.
Oh, yeah.
Apple TV recently announced there will be season 4 of Ted Lasso coming. If you haven't seen the show Ted Lasso, I would highly recommend it. It is worth the watch as long as you can deal with some interesting language. If you have seen it, spoiler alerts coming up, but that's on you because it's been out for a while. So join us. We're going to be talking about not only Ted Lasso, but how it relates to our work in Crucible and some of the ways we see soul work playing out in the characters. So let's jump right in. Season 1 of Ted Lasso, one of the big moments is Ted talking about a quote from Walt Whitman, be curious, right?
Oh, yes.
And it's in this scene where he's working with this guy who's very judgmental, and it's a whole buildup. But the idea is that everyone is so quick to judge. When you actually start to be curious and ask questions, you can get to know more about people. How have you seen Be Curious play out in the world of Crucible, either personally or in general?
Absolutely. Before I even get to that, if you have not seen that scene, go Google or YouTube that scene because it's a mic drop of Ted Lasso with the dartboard. It is brilliant. But curiosity, I have a phrase that I like to use, having compassionate curiosity. Often our first step is to judge what is around us. Our judger part is a really great part in some elements, but like a double-sided coin, it could actually be kryptonite on understanding what someone has been through, where someone has been, the experiences of others. We are so quick to make up stories. There's so much that we don't know about people. And especially being able to get on weekends or getting into groups, we can look at someone and go, all right, there's this woman. Here's what she looks like. Oh, she's super judgmental. But we actually don't know a thing about her story, her experiences, the things that gave her the hard shell that we're judging. That's a lot of the beauty of a soul work weekend, is getting to dive deep. That's often the space where compassion and that curiosity really come together beautifully. Being able to show up with a tenderness and also experiencing that for ourselves. Where am I being judgmental about someone that I know nothing about? There's so much more to the story, and if we lead with curiosity as opposed to judgment, that's a game changer.
Absolutely. I have several thoughts around this, but one of the things that came to mind is if you're familiar with the character of Nathan Shelley in the show, when the show first starts, you kind of fall in love with Nathan, just his desire to be seen and valued and loved. He just seems so innocent and sweet, and you just want to give him a hug. And then season 2 comes, and you freaking hate the guy. His character completely pivots, and then there's this redemptive arc that comes back around in season 3. There's a scene where Ted says, I think that you might be so sure a person is one thing that sometimes you completely miss who they really are.
Oof. Man.
Yeah. You know, I think about in relation to being curious, but then also missing who people are. I'm noticing in my own life when I don't start at curious, but when I start with that judger part of me online, what's really happening is that I'm projecting either the things of myself that I don't like onto this other person, judging them harshly because they're acting in a way that is on display of things I don't like about myself.
Come on.
Or they're acting in a way that I decided long ago I would never act that way. A goofy example, someone being excited about basically anything, right?
Yeah.
An adult having excitement. I long ago unintentionally came to the decision that being excited is embarrassing because there's a level of vulnerability with excitement that could get taken away from you. And then you're just left looking like a fool.
Yeah.
So I thought.
Yep.
The thought of being excited and showing excitement around things was just so scary that I decided I always have to temper my excitement. I always have to keep it at a certain level of skepticism around whatever it might be that I could be excited about so that I didn't look like an idiot if it fell through.
Yeah.
And then when another adult would be excited about something, I would think, gosh, you're so stupid. I'm secondhand embarrassed for you right now with how you're acting, simply because they were excited about something. It's not only missing who that person is, but also missing that God-given emotion of excitement.
Totally. Being able to receive and live in that celebration and excitement is so hard if that's not your experience with it, if there's fear around rejection with it. I love that quote, especially thinking about being curious and not judgmental. The different dynamics that every player brings, every person brings. There's a character who starts out kind of like a jerk. He's not doing too hot in the whole team building thing. So Jamie Tart, their all-star player, he is as good as it gets. But Ted struggles right off the bat with him because Jamie is so hard to be around. There's even one line where Ted is like, Jamie, I think you're so sure that you're 1 in a million that you forget that you're just 1 in 11. It is so profound, but looking at that curiosity and judgment, you can get angry at how Jamie shows up with others. So there's even the scene where Sam Obisanya is away from home and Ted shows up and gives Sam this beautiful birthday present and to have a conversation about their dads. And Jamie looks over and he laughs at them. And you can be pissed off at him in that moment, but foreshadowing to the relationship that Jamie has with his dad that's broken and the sadness there. And then even some of the envy he ends up having for Sam's relationship with his dad. What a beautiful gift even for Sam to step into that relationship with Jamie and go, man, I have something that you don't have. The soul work layers in this show just run so deep. But what a beautiful perspective of everyone has so much going on. And if we can step in with that curiosity to see why someone maybe hates excitement or to see why someone struggles with vulnerability or even talking about their parents. There's so many layers, and that curiosity is a beautiful gift in all of those spaces.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't remember which character said this, but it was, I know we can't fix every ache inside of us, but I shouldn't have to pretend it's not there either.
Oh.
The way that we relate to other people, that idea of being part of a team. We are all part of a team.
Yeah.
Whether you're lacing up your boots to hit the pitch or grabbing your briefcase to go into a meeting or you're managing your home team, your family, your kids, your spouse, your friends, whoever you're around on a daily basis. How are we hiding, right? It's not serving anyone by hiding that we have aches and that there's pain that has happened in our stories. I hear a lot of people push back on things like therapy or soul work, working on yourself because I can't fix everything. So why would I even try? Why would I even bother? No, you're not going to fix everything. You could go to therapy every week for the rest of your life and you're still not going to get to a point where you say, I've made sense of everything that has happened to me, good, bad, right, wrong, and different. But that's not the goal. We're not aiming for perfection. We are aiming for wholeness and healing. Part of that wholeness is not saying that I don't have aches anymore. Part of that wholeness is just being able to acknowledge that it's there and not pretending like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's right. And what a gift that wholeness is. Something that's so core to Crucible is this phrase that we use often, all of you is welcome. What would it look like to actually live in a world where that's true? With the aches, with the joys, with the pains. It is so anti-society to really pull out this truth of, can I bring my whole self and still be welcomed into a space? But man, the gift that vulnerability is, because it allows someone else to see, I'm not the only one. It's also freeing and healing, like that confession, the ache, the pain, the truth brings so much healing and freedom even to the self. There's something about that release that feels like a realignment. It's so important, and especially in community. Joy and I, we're friends. We've been friends for a while. If there's something that Joy is hiding because it feels like that's too big to bring to Jess, I'm missing out on a gift of knowing you, of being able to walk in relationship with you. I even was just recently looking at the story of Jesus, where he gives the blessed are those pieces, and it's blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. It's not blessed are those who keep it all together because they got it going on. If we miss out on the mourning, we also miss out on the gift both of being comforted, but allowing someone else to comfort. We're robbing someone else of that gift. I'm an Enneagram 7, and I often run from the ache or allowing others to see it. But even recently, just thinking, what a gift I'm missing out on when I don't bring my full self to the table, and what a gift others are missing out on in that connection to me. There's so many episodes in the show that I'm thinking about right now of that gift of just being with in those spaces. It's so, so good.
The scene that comes to mind is Ted sitting at a bar and Jamie walks in, sits down, and Ted says, well, Jamie, how you been? And Jamie says something like, excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Good. Okay. All right. Just keeps devolving from there.
Yeah.
One of the things that Ted says to him during that conversation is, I promise you, there's something worse out there than being sad.
Come on.
And that's being alone and being sad. Another part of the show is there's this group of men, they call themselves the Diamond Dogs. It's basically the coaching staff, right? And they do this little barking thing, and they all come. What it means is someone's got something that they need to be real about.
Yep.
These guys come flooding in. There's, 3, 4, or 5 of them at different times throughout the show. But the beauty of assembling a team of trusted same-gender friends, which I think is important. This is not to say that mixed-gender friendships are not important, but there is something about guys having a brotherhood of other men that they can call on, and women having other women where you feel you can get perspective, guidance, and be real with one another.
Yep.
And what I love especially about the Diamond Dogs, Roy Kent, is this brash character.
Yep.
He's not at all into anything emotional. He's made that very clear on multiple occasions. But over the course of the 3 seasons, you see him go from thinking the Diamond Dogs are obnoxious and ridiculous to then every now and then he'll chime in with something to say.
Yep.
To then, I think it's season 3 that he asks, can I be a part of this? How attractive it actually is that you can even win over Roy Kent. He watched, he observed these guys call on one another, bring a problem. They didn't always have solutions.
That's right.
The problem that Roy brought,
Yep.
they all just said, wow, yeah, that sounds like a problem. And he was so angry. Aren't you going to tell me what to do about it? That's what you do, right? And they said, not always. Sometimes you just need to be heard.
That's right. There's a line, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's where he's like, wait, sometimes you just talk and you don't do anything about it. And Ted goes, yeah. And he goes, huh, that's kind of cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. We at Crucible are so big on a community of both truth and grace. Being able to invite others in, have our full truth be known, and show up with full grace for one another. We do something called check-ins. We share whatever emotions we're feeling, and one of our asks is that there's no crosstalk. So as a woman or a man is checking in, we aren't advice giving, we aren't speaking into whatever they're saying. It's simply a place of saying, we see you. Thank you for bringing your full self. That space is so special. It really is sacred.
Yeah. One aspect of the show that comes up in season 1, Ted's talking about going through this hard time with his wife, and he's sharing with his boss, Rebecca, about he and his wife, when they were in couples counseling, had a code word, Oklahoma. If one of them said Oklahoma, the other had to share what they were actually thinking, the unedited version, basically drop the mask in our Crucible terms, and be real. Then you see it play out throughout the next couple of seasons where Ted and Rebecca have these moments. They're trying to hold it all together, and the other one will say Oklahoma, and it's like, yep, it's all crap. The value of having a person in your life, you both feel safe enough, frankly, to call each other on your bullshit.
Come on.
Take off the mask and be real. Yes, there are friendships outside of Crucible that I have in my life where I can do that, but those are the friendships that have taken years to cultivate. With Crucible, the space that was created from my very first initial weekend, the intentional challenge to drop the pretense. I have this whole community of people where the minute we sit down for a check-in, it's like the whole room collectively says, Oklahoma.
That's right.
Let it out. Let's go.
Oh, that's so good. And it's so needed. You and I both run pretty far in ministry spaces, which have a lot of good to them, but there is a lot of masking that happens. And this is even something that I think, especially Western Christianity culture, has been working on. How do we stop that Sunday best, hold it all together kind of piece But can I actually come as I am? It feels pretty anti-cultural to, I'd say, the whole Western Christian feel. In this Crucible space, showing up authentically is step number one. We've seen you buttoned up. We know how y'all roll in your actual lives. It's not going to fly here, which at first can feel intimidating. I don't think you're going to like the real me. Come to find out, we haven't actually taken a look at the real us because we've been so busy trying to impress others. There's something beautiful that happens when we actually get to be fully seen, be fully known. I know in my own life, I work at a church full time, and I have a lot of people that I am responsible for, that I am responsible to. So a continual question that I have is, how do I show up authentically in a space where I even allow myself to have a seat at the table? And it's having those people in my life, whether it's church or Crucible. There's so much goodness in being able to take off the mask and be able to say, here's my full authentic self, and seeing someone else do the same. Like, what a gift that is.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had multiple pastors who have gone through, who have had exactly that experience. You know, it's not that pastors are pretending with their congregation or that they're not being real and being who they are, but there's so much pressure pastors carry, expectation of how they should respond to things and how their family should be, to have a place where they can say, when I walk into this weekend, I'm not the pastor anymore. I'm the participant, and I get to just be.
That's right.
And let it down. We've had multiple pastors report what a gift that has been to them. And then along with that, we actually have a group of pastors who continue the work. When you go through a Crucible experience, we encourage you to get connected to groups afterward. We have growth groups with curriculum. We have journey groups where people can take turns leading each other. There is a group of pastors that have their own group. They all know some of the things they're having to carry that maybe others don't carry. They have to have intentional space where they can let some stuff down in a safe way. And we are not in competition with the church.
No.
Our goal is to create these spaces so that Christians can let the mask down.
That's right.
And let other people in, and then take that back to your home church community. We talk about igniting a world of Christ-like change. This is how we do it. By helping you learn and practice showing up vulnerably, authentically, in integrity with yourself, no matter which situation you find yourself in.
That's so well said, Joy. And I love that perspective of not competing with churches, but really bringing this environment into churches. We want these things to sync up, to line up, to be fully who we are. I'm a Crucible gal. My pastor did Crucible as part of even a Crucible men's pastors group, and we do check-ins in our church staff meetings. It's like we get to start the week by saying Oklahoma and coming real with each other. I've heard, especially in the past few years at our church, there's this resounding echo of, I feel like I belong there. I feel safe to be myself, safe to be heard, safe to be seen. And I know that's an echo of culture that gets built out of the overflow of what we've received even. And that's such a resounding piece of the show. You see the Lasso way, which is what we're calling this. Really, it starts with one person. At first, everyone's like, who the flip is this guy from Kansas? Even Roy Kent, who seasons on is on the coaching staff, he started out as the team's captain. And at first he was like, ship yourself back, because who the heck is this guy? At the beginning, Ted and Coach Beard are like, let's put out a suggestion box. And one of the suggestions was, our water pressure sucks. So what do? It's a simple thing. It's not this huge motivational speech. They fix the water pressure, and you see that become a quick moment where Roy goes, this is a different way. So he starts picking up the Lasso way. Maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're like, I don't work at a church. I don't work for Crucible. How does this apply to me? You can fix the water pressure. The way things are don't need to stay this way. There's a better way. It can be for anyone. Like, you see so many different characters show up and receive so many different gifts. And it's possible for all of us to belong in the team, in the space.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, with that suggestion box scene, pretty much every other piece of paper in that suggestion box,
not a kind word,
has something along the lines of F off. And even the resilience in that, watching Ted and Beard not be sidelined by the critics, but finding the thing that they can do, the thing that they can change, and how they can show up for this team anyway. There's a whole episode just in that life lesson.
Oh, so good.
One of the last scenes that I want to talk about before we wrap up is the tumultuous scene in season 3 of Ted and his mom. She flew from Kansas to London without warning, and the whole episode is Ted trying to figure out, why did she show up? What's going on? He gets home from a match and she has made him dinner. She wasn't sure which of his favorite meals to make, so she made a couple of them, right? Super sweet. He says, "Thank you for flying all the way here to come see me. And F you for not telling me you were coming. Thank you for all the small, silly, little things you did for me as a kid." And, he gives some examples of this. And F you for not working on yourself or seeking help after we lost Dad, and for not talking to me about it either, and glossing over the whole thing and acting like everything was all right. And she says, "I'm sorry, I didn't know what to do, so I was pretending I was okay." And he says, "Thank you for the apology, and F you for making me think I had to pretend to." Watching this scene, feeling those times where it's like, I want to tell my own parents, thank you for the things that you've done for me. I see that. I appreciate that. And that's not a blank check to be able to just do what you want.
Yep, that's right. Whew. It is not easy. And I think this is something that we especially value so much in Crucible. It has been such a gift to me of realizing where some of our old wounds come from. And old wounds don't just go away. They show up for us in different ways, in some of the ways that maybe we sabotaged the good things in our life, or it can be how we get angry about something and have no reason why we're angry about it. Or like Ted, it would come out in joking and overcommitting to caring for everyone else, really, so he wouldn't have to feel his own pain. I love that scene so much because Ted had been doing his own counseling. There's even a piece where his mom first gets there and talks to him about how he's going to counseling, and she goes, "Oh, let me guess, I'm the cause of all your pain." So the scene that followed that you shared, I love that lesson of both can be true. It's a both and of, yes, there are so many gifts that our family of origin, that our parents give us. And there's a lot of wounding and hard stuff that we get from those spaces, either intentionally or unintentionally. But those wounds run deep. Both can coexist to say, like, yes, thank you. The thank you can be authentic, and so can that F you. Man, this messed me up and I'm trying something different, but that hurt and it still hurts. I have a really hard time talking about how others have impacted me negatively, or even confronting someone. If I'm feeling hurt by someone, 9 times out of 10, I will not say a blessed thing because I don't want to blow up. That was my dad's rhythm, blow ups, if he was pissed off about something. If I spoke with honesty, it would be a blow up. I had learned I can't share honestly. And so it's even a new rhythm for me. I've approached people recently. Hey, I see your heart. Thank you for this. I know that you didn't intend to hurt me, but it actually really hurt. I love, 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 love how that scene with Ted and his mom wraps up. She receives it and you can see the pain on her face of like, well, that wasn't intended. But man, what a gift for Ted to say, hey, because you showed up this way, you taught me that I had to show up that way too. But it lands in different rhythms. This was the wound. This was the pain. But I get the choice. So even if his mom doesn't change, Ted knows that he could change. We get to look at the people who have hurt us. We get to choose if we're going to approach them and say, here's what harmed me, but I'm going to choose to do something different. What a gift.
Absolutely. When Ted first starts going to therapy, his therapist says, the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off.
Whew.
That resonated so deeply inside of me because, we talked earlier about how we can't fix every ache inside of us, but it doesn't mean you have to pretend it's not there. Sometimes I look at the things I'm upset about. I almost don't even know how I feel about it. I come up with all these different descriptors. And really, it's because I'm trying to dig for the truth of what's in there. And the reality is that I have to get a little angry about it first. And, when your name is Joy, okay? People don't expect you to be the angry one, right?
Yep.
And that's okay. But Crucible has created a place where I can actually look at what it means to have healthy anger. Stepping into a space where I can learn to be angry. I can be pissed off about some of the things that have taken place in my story and dig for the gold that's underneath of that. There's a reason why we use fire as a metaphor in Crucible.
Come on.
Facing the fire and letting it melt down all of the crap that's surrounding our stories so that we can get to the gold of who God made us to be in that. That has been a gift for me.
That's so powerful. I just love that phrase. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Oftentimes, it's not easy to deal with that truth. Something so profound that we look at in our Crucible spaces is our wants. Often, even in Christian circles, saying that we want something can feel like, I don't deserve that. Is that actually walking in humility? So we can often go about getting our wants in all kinds of gross ways. But when we can look at our base and go, all of us are made to want belonging, to want identity, to want security. Man, how have we gone about that in really twisted or sideways ways? Well, this was what I actually wanted. It really can set us free. And being able to look at the others who have wounded us, somewhere deep under all of that messy crap that they did, there was a want for them as well. When we can show up full circle in that compassionate curiosity, there's something about seeing the humanity in all of those pieces. They probably hurt themselves more than anything.
There's a scene with the character Higgins. He's talking to Ted about dad dynamics. And he says, I try to love my dad for who he is and forgive him for who he isn't. That's not easy to do. I fully believe that you can love your kid in a way that seems perfect. And they're still going to be hurt by something. Everybody receives love and encouragement in different ways. That's the whole idea of the love languages.
That's right.
If I try to love my kids perfectly according to my love language, if it's not their exact language, there's going to be things that I do that hurt them. And it's not that I'm trying to. It's just what happens when you're in relationship with another human because it's messy. That doesn't mean leaning into the mess isn't worth it. And that is what Crucible has done for me. It's created a space where I can lean in and explore the things that have wounded, that have hurt, how I want to respond to them, and be intentional going forward so that I can live in integrity with myself, with God, with others, and be who God really created me to be. So if you're feeling like, how do I even start to live into all of these things? I'm just going to leave you with the wisdom of Ted Lasso.
Come on.
Taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse. If you're comfortable while doing it, you're probably doing it wrong. Soul work is a challenge.
Yeah.
Leaning into the parts of your soul unknown to you, looking at the parts of you that you might not like, it's a challenge, but we're not made to be comfortable. We're not made to live in this place of complacency. Growth is hard, but it wouldn't count if it didn't hurt a little bit, right?
You better preach, Joy. Come on.
Jess, as we come to a close, is there anything else that you want to share with us?
Oh, man. I just want to go back and watch the show again for the 8th time. Being able to show up authentically with others and with ourselves is a gift that both Ted teaches us, and I think we got some of today. Grateful for this space.
Thanks. Well, come on, Richmond. Join the Lasso way. Let's go.
For more information about our weekends, please go to thecrucibleproject.org. Or if you're ready to get started on your transformational journey right now, you can connect with one of our Crucible certified coaches for a free 30-minute session at thecrucibleproject.org/coaching. That's thecrucibleproject.org/coaching. If you like what you heard, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Rate and review wherever you are listening, and don't forget to subscribe on your preferred podcast platform. Thank you for listening.